Hi, I'm Toby.
And I'm Nick.
And welcome to the Pure Property Podcast with Track Capital, where we talk about all things property and property investment. The aim of the podcast is to give you our industry insight and knowledge to help investors to invest intelligently. Now, this week we've got a special episode, as we're usually streaming this where Nick is in a sunny Dubai with a lovely background in his office, and I'm in more grey England. And this time, for this episode, we're actually in Hong Kong. Reason being, we are, as a company, expanding into Hong Kong, so we're here at the moment with our new colleagues and also looking at offices that we'll be looking to expand into for the future. So yeah, for myself and Nick, this has been a nice learning trip for us. Our first time in Hong Kong, so really exciting, and yeah, we've had a really good time so far. But it should be an interesting one as we're here in person. Usually, as I said, we're doing this virtually, so it'd be interesting to see how this goes. But this episode as well, we wanted to give you an update on where we are as a company, give a refresher, as it's been a while. It's actually our first episode where we gave a real introduction to ourselves. So as an update for old listeners and also an introduction for new listeners as well, we wanted to give you a full insight into where we are as a company, who we are, what we do, and our plans going forward for the future.
Yeah, just to echo those thoughts, really exciting to be in Hong Kong. Big plans for 2023, and we'll certainly run through those today. But yeah, just to recap then, for anyone that doesn't know, we are a property investment agency. So obviously we're called Track Capital. So we sell properties on behalf of developers throughout the UK and the Dubai UAE property market. So in a second, Toby will speak a bit more about the sort of products, developments, locations and things like that. But ultimately what we do is help investors purchase, guide them through the buying process, recommend all the relevant partners, solicitors, mortgage brokers, property management companies, as well as obviously helping them choose the right property investment strategy and ultimately the right asset that they're purchasing. So our job is to guide people from start to finish. We don't charge any fees. We are paid by property developers. So it's just our job to help and really add value throughout that purchase process. So we will go into a bit more detail later on in terms of specifics. But for the starting point, if you kick us off with the types of properties and the locations that we're looking at, to give everyone a snapshot of what we can offer them.
Yeah, definitely. So our main focus as a company in terms of properties that we market to investors are new build and off-plan properties. So when we talk about off-plan, that is properties that are in the construction phase. That can be before a brick's even been laid, all the way up until completion. So you're buying off plan before the property is built. And new build as well. That means you're getting a brand new property with warranties, it's fresh, it's shiny, tenants can move straight into, a lot more straightforward. And then also our main focus is apartments, predominantly in city centre locations. At the moment in time, we have a high demand and also a focus on the north and northwest of the UK. Reason being the returns, the investment case. It's just more attractive for investors. We found the south and the southeast has been stretched.
Just the pricing as well, just the entry level.
Exactly that. It opens the market up to a lot more investors, and the fundamentals, the investment case for the locations that we look at, such as your Manchester, Liverpool, Birmingham, Sheffield, are really, really strong. And yeah, we're seeing track record there as well moving forward, and a lot of regeneration in these cities, which is going to help investors that are getting in there at the stage that we're advising them. We also offer Dubai property investments as well. Nick, based in Dubai, Nick's built up excellent relationships with sort of the top developers and a range of developers as well. So he's got access to that market, and the beauty of that is we've got a real good bridge between UK, Dubai, and also the processes, because what we tend to find is the Dubai purchase process is slightly different to that of the UK or other markets, and we're able to bridge that gap with having a presence in the UK and Dubai. But the Dubai property market as well is something that we're seeing more and more demand coming in for, because it's such an emerging and exciting market, offering very strong returns as well, and undervalued in comparison to the like-for-likes of like London, etc. And for the quality you get out there and how the developments are done, it's really, really good.
Yeah, ultimately our job is to find the best return for investors. So we've, built our business on the UK market, so on the ground, meeting developers across all of these locations. Traditionally, when we started off, well, to be fair, even now, the Northwest is still by far our biggest performing market. So the most volume of sales we do is in Liverpool, closely followed by Manchester. So they're really the two core markets. But I think you'll agree, in recent years, we've kind of pivoted as well to look at secondary market cities. So your Bradfords, Prestons, places like that. It's kind of echoing, the reason why people move to the Northwest in the first place, just because of the reasons Toby mentioned. So the price, the yields, the capital growth. Now we're starting to see places like Manchester and Birmingham become a lot more expensive as they've performed so well, both actually for tenants and for investors. So we are getting a lot of people look out into the secondary cities, what we would call. They're almost getting the overspills. We're seeing the ripple effect from the big cities, and we're seeing those, your Boltons, etc., is a prime example, perform really, really well. And of course, don't forget, with COVID, people wanted more space. They maybe wanted garden space. They maybe wanted an extra room. So there, again, that's both end users and tenants are all looking to these cities as well. So yeah, Northwest core markets for us. Then we've got the secondary cities, and then as Toby said, Dubai, which is really exciting. We actually saw quite a lot of organic demand for Dubai. So our investor network in the UK were looking abroad, and they were looking, a lot of people look at Spain, even over to America, but there is just a huge amount of people that are interested in Dubai itself. Now, that might be just purely for an investment, but a lot of the time they're looking for a holiday home. So they'll rent it on the short let market for a lot of the year, and then they might visit for a couple of weeks or a couple of months throughout the year. So one, they've got their holiday home, they've got a bit of peace and quiet, better weather in comparison to the UK, and then obviously it's performing really, really well. Higher than average rental yields, a huge capital growth in some places, and when I mean huge, I mean 20-25% in a year in some cases. So really, really exciting market. Cool. So moving back to us as a company and as an operation, some people can sometimes be a bit confused in terms of where we really, really help people. Ultimately, as I said before, we're selling properties for developers across the UK. Now, some people will think, why can't I go directly to a developer, and why can't I, handle that process myself? Well, the short answer is you can, but the second point I'd raise is, why would you ultimately want to? Just to stress, unlike some of our competitors, we don't charge any fees to investors. So we're purely there to assist and guide people through that process. So the first stage where I'd say we really add value is getting the product, or getting access to the product in the first place. So Toby heads up the UK market and the stock in the UK. So he's out there meeting developers, building relationship, and getting face to face with these guys and bringing on the best new build and off-plan properties in the UK. It's that simple. So these are properties you can't always find on Rightmove, Zoopla, and listed online. In fact, a lot of the time they restrict us, right? They say no online marketing, keep this to your personal investor network. So it's getting access to that in the first place where we can really help people. But moving on to the second stage, there is that aspect of having a lot to choose from. When you're starting a property investment journey, you might be looking at rent-to-rent strategies, refurbs, doing serviced accommodation, getting something ready, looking at the new build market. So there's a lot to pick and choose from, and it can be quite overwhelming to start with. So where we really come into our own as a consultancy is we'll advertise properties, we'll get the guys to call them up and speak them through their investment plans. What are their goals? What are their objectives? What's their medium to long-term strategy? And then we'll tailor-make, a game plan to get to that end goal through property investment, through the products that we can offer, and ultimately tell them, how much money that they're going to make. So we get access to the product for them. We then tell them in an unbiased manner which product to focus on. I'll tell you what we could explain quickly is how we're sort of unbiased and look at the whole market. Do you want to run through that?
Yeah, so I like to compare ourselves to that of a sort of full market mortgage broker, in the sense that what that means is when an investor comes to us, it's about us fact finding, doing the research into them, their criteria, their budget, their scenario, and then placing them into a product or a property that suits those needs. And it won't be the same for each person. Same like a mortgage broker, they have their client that comes in, the client gives them their personal circumstances, and then they will go out to the open market to find the best product for them. The mortgage broker is still getting paid by the lender, but their job is to fit them in with a lender that's best for them moving forward. And that's the same with us. We're unbiased in the sense of we have sort of an open market we can go to. A lot of similar companies will have a focus either on one or two main developments that they're signed up to contractually to sell, or they might limit themselves to a few products as well, just based on themselves as a company and what they would like to do. The ethos that we took when we started Track Capital was we want to give choice to investors. So that means we're not restricting ourselves. I mean, don't get me wrong, we don't have access to every single product out there, but we have access to the majority. So that means we can give a wide variety of choice to investors, and it doesn't limit ourselves as consultants to what we can offer, and it also doesn't really limit the investor because they can come with us and they know it's a bit like a one-stop shop. They let us know what they're looking for, their budget, what their goals are, and then we're able to go out or have the right product for them to introduce them to. And that's something we're very, very big on, and it's a niche that we've carved out for ourselves and we've seen be very, very popular among the investors that we deal with. It's one of the comments we get that we don't just sell them the first thing that they sort of come through the door on. We do talk to them, we consult with them, and we give them options, and we explain why we give those options as well. We give them different scenarios so they can get different ideas on where it may lead to and different circumstances. And yeah, we really are big on that as a company.
Yeah, and I mean, as directors of the company as well, obviously we're, advising our sales team or consultants about how to operate. Tobi will speak a bit about our values and culture in a second, but one of them is being, consultative and being able to really listen, understand the investor. We don't put pressure on our brokers to sell particular products. Commercially as a company, it doesn't make a huge difference to us, right? We're pretty much paid the same on the back end. So it's just about doing a good job for that particular investor. And then obviously they'll refer their friends, they'll do repeat business with us, which is massive for us. So it's in our best interest to obviously deliver the best in class service basically. So yeah, that's where we add value in another aspect. I'd say another one would be the access to our partners. So whether it's limited company formation, whether it's mortgage brokers, whether it's solicitors, whether it's lettings and property management, all these areas, we've introduced hundreds of investors now. So we've tried and tested a lot of suppliers, a lot of partners. So you speak to us, we can potentially be, your main dedicated point of contact right through your purchase until you're getting the income into your account, and hopefully well into the future as well when you're building your property portfolio. You'll come back to us time and time and time again. Whereas if you're going by yourself, you're going to have to speak to, 5, 6, 7, 8 different companies or parties to really do proper research and get yourself set up. So we've completely, tried and tested that model. We've experimented at a cost to ourselves sometime, but we've really got some solid partners now that we work with, both on the developer side and these third-party services. So as I say, you can see how working with an agency right from the beginning to getting the product, getting advice on the product, being introduced to certain partners, and then just having someone hold your hand all the way through can be really, really beneficial. So for getting that for free is ultimately a no-brainer in our opinion, and that's pretty much how we've been able to scale and be so successful, considering the short time that we've been running. So yeah, hopefully that's an overview of the actual business practice, the model, how we're paid, how we help, etc., etc. But yeah, Tobi's going to give us a run through now of our sort of mindset, our values, our culture as a ultimately what's still a startup, but a growing quick startup.
Yeah, I mean, tying into the sort of the added value that we give as a company with our values and our culture as well, is one of the things that we want to instill as a company and also to the sales team is we're here for both the smooth and the rough. Property investing isn't always plain sailing.
It'd be nice if it was, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be nice. But there are snags and bumps along the road, and the one thing we won't shy away from is being there to help and being able to service and take you through those bumps and get you across the other side. We're very determined and resilient, and we don't give up that easy. And just an example was like sales progression, where you're going through the conveyancing process with legals and solicitors. There can be stuff that arises there, little things, maybe AML checks don't go your way, or maybe something comes up in the contract which would seem at first very detrimental, but we have a good solid team, our sales progressors and our sales team members as well, that are able to get you through there, explain it to you. They don't shy away, and they're there to help you along that process. And for me personally, I think that's a very, very big factor that ourselves as a company, that sort of differentiates ourselves from a lot of others out there. So that's firstly one thing. We're there for the whole process, good and bad, and we make sure we stick with you along that way to help get you through whatever it is. Then also investing with integrity. So we want our sales consultants to be giving you good advice. Transparency is what we're very big on as well, and we're very big on providing as much information and due diligence as possible to the investors for them to make a calculated decision that's correct for themselves. We're not restrictive. We don't just give sort of bites of information to try and entice people and then hard sell them. We're more sort of open on the front end. People come in, they inquire for us, we give them as much information in the first instance to help them with that decision-making process, and then we talk them through it all. We can go over their questions, and we're able to help with any level investor, whether that's entry-level investor that needs a lot of assistance and hand-holding sometimes, or even if you're an experienced investor and you just want to get along with it yourself, but just need that added bonus of a consultant and a company that will smooth that process out for you. So that's another thing we're very big on. And just our general level of service as well. Part of our culture and our company values is we want our service levels to be very, very high in the advice that we give, the investments that we offer, and just our general practice and how we go about doing things. So we won't hard sell. That's something that, again, some people will notice in comparison to other property companies out there, and that's because we don't have to hard sell, because we've got access to lots of stocks, and we'll be able to find usually something no matter what your criteria. But also, it's just not a good way to do things. We want people to go into investments confidently and comfortably as well, knowing that they've made the right decision, not only from ourselves giving them advice, but also them making up their own mind based on what they've done. So that's what we like to sum ourselves up in terms of culture and values.
Yep, and as I say, it's really important for us to, not just have this at director level, but for all our team to know and understand this. So we really, really drill it into them and hammer them about be consultative, be a trusted advisor, be an expert. This is not the 80s anymore where you can use sales tactics to, get deals done, etc. So we're all about the long-term game. We want to be in this for the next few decades, and we want our investors to, come along the journey with us. And the only other thing I'd mention is, try us, test our competitors, and then speak to us. Time and time again, we're told and we're praised. And, yes, this is a bit of a plug and we are bigging ourselves up a bit, but it's because we're so confident in it and, what we can deliver and how we can help people. And as I say, we've done it hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times now. So, yeah, really, really confident. Cool. So on to the next bit then. We won't go on for much longer. I think we're going to get kicked out of our meeting room soon. But with regards to our physical presence now, so yeah, we've got our core base in London, in central London, where most of the sales team are based. So we're meeting investors there frequently. So if anyone's in and around London, if you're visiting there, if you're based there, obviously we can set up face-to-face meetings there. Tobi's got another office, satellite office down in the southeast of the UK, where we have 2-3 members in and out of that office frequently. Obviously we've got the Dubai office with a few people out there. That's where I'm physically based. That's in Business Bay Dubai, which is downtown area. And then, yeah, at the moment we're doing our reconnaissance mission with regards to the Hong Kong office. So, we're sat in a office now in central Hong Kong, and we're looking to scale out and expand the team here. Huge amount of demand coming in from Hong Kong to the UK market. It's always been a huge market for us, hasn't it? But, I think going forward, it's going to continue to really level up. So, yeah, that's where we're at the moment, looking to build out each of those teams. So if anyone's interested in working for us, that's another thing we can add in there as well. We are constantly recruiting, marketing for the consultants, different locations, etc. So yeah, as a company, we're growing, we're expanding, and it's really exciting. So we've got a big 23 ahead of us, and yeah, looking forward to watching the team do really well.
Yeah, definitely. And this year is shaping up to be a good year for us. Started off very strong.
Start.
Yeah, very strong. A lot of appetite out there. Maybe contrary to what some people do hear or see in the media in terms of the property market in the UK, but lots of appetite, lots of activity, which is really promising to see. And as a company, we are looking to expand even more this year. So obviously we're here in Hong Kong expanding with our sales team that's going to be based out here, and the office that we're looking to sort of close on soon. And also on the Dubai side, we're certainly growing that this year, and we want to do that sort of imminently in the next few months. Reason being, demand and activity there is massive, and we're seeing it ever more so from the UK. The amount of interest, like Nick mentioned earlier, organically we're getting for the Dubai investments is massive, and there isn't any other company out there that we know of who's got that sort of gap bridged like we have, with the office base, the knowledge, and sort of the transaction that we're able to provide based on the service we do and our knowledge of the UK, the Dubai market, and how to then sort of transition that and translate it for UK buyers, which is massive because it is slightly different way of doing things, different terminology. So it's very important to have that when you're a newbie investor going into a brand new country, and let alone market or an investment. So yeah, plans this year are just really growing and expanding, and growing not only physically as a team and as a company, but growing in terms of our service levels as well. We're always looking to improve, we're looking to increase efficiency and really help our investors on a higher level each year. I think me and Nick always laugh to ourselves and also with the rest of the team that we're never satisfied. That doesn't matter how many good reviews or what glowing feedback we get, we're always looking to take it up a notch and to the next level, always looking ways to improve and do things better. So again, this year we've got plans to continue growing a company and also our service levels.
And just to give you an example of how we do that, it might be that we speak to more mortgage brokers, get more mortgage brokers on board. It might be we get out there and target a different type of developer. It might be we get out and research and do some due diligence on new locations. We might look at new technology. We look at more resources in terms of talent or staff on the back end for handling, sales progression, administration, etc., all making the investor experience, improved. Because one of the things, or one of the big advantages which has served us so well is being agile, being very innovative. We don't have huge decision-making times. Me and Tobi will sit down, we'll analyse things, and we'll make a decision, and we'll execute and take action, and that's served us exceptionally well. So, yeah, hopefully that gives everyone a really good overview of where we're at. As I say, I'm really excited for this year to expand into different regions. Only downside is we've now got to work across 3 time zones. But
very difficult.
So yeah, that should be interesting. But yeah, hopefully that helps everyone, giving an overview today.
Yeah, well, thanks for joining us, and here's to a very exciting 2023 property market-wise and Track Capital-wise as a company. We're really looking forward to it and look forward to working with yourselves and anyone else out there that's wanting to invest in property UK or Dubai. Thank you.
Thanks for your time, everyone. See you soon.
Bye-bye.